I'm Andy Cohen, old, 64. I'm a teacher. Lived in Charleston since the 80s. I teach chemistry. I've been a science teacher. I taught at School of the Arts back in 2000. I had my own planetarium that I took around to the schools for the eclipse. I am great at doing that. I'm a science teacher. They had another Bible study the Wednesday after the shooting because they always had Bible study on Wednesdays, and it was always open to whoever wanted to come, including me. Amazing. I just went up to the wrought iron gate. I was just looking at the flowers. I was reading some of the things that were mentioned there, and it just happened to be the time that they started their service. And there was a gentleman there who invited everybody. Everybody kind of backed away. I guess I just didn't get that cue, It would have been rude to have said no. He was just so insistent, so welcoming, and I'm astounded that I was in that place at that time. 10 years ago, I lived downtown, and wanted to wait until the chaos subsided. Thought I'd go the next week, and stopped by on my way to the beach. As it turns out, exactly a week later, the following Wednesday, when they were having their fellowship Bible study, just as they had the week before, for years before. And just as they had before, for years before, it was open to everybody, even me. And though I protested, it was a little embarrassing because they really insisted. They really wanted me to join them for their Bible study the week after. In my shorts and t-shirt and flip-flops. There was about a half dozen members from the Department of Psychology from MUSC, and I happen to know one. And I was a little giddy at having been invited and then recognizing a face, and probably was inappropriately happy to see her. She let me know. And I got a seat in the middle. And before everything started, the lady next to me leaned over and didn't really whisper, more said out loud, "I can't believe I'm sitting next to a white boy." And I don't know what I said, probably something like, "Where? Which one? Who is he? Point him out." Or, "I can't believe you're sitting next to one either." The lady behind me, before things started, tried to introduce me to her daughter, who was lovely, way too young for me, and not happy about it at all, but I understood they were lovely, and it was humbling to be there. And they invited me in. Beach shorts, t-shirt, flip-flops. "Yeah, come on in. We would love to have you." And Jewish boy from New York to boot. So, yeah, I covered all the bases. Boy, I wish I could say that I was feeling pins and needles, but I think I was like a foot off the ground, saying hi to my friend there, just really inappropriately. I think I was just, I was just so pleased to be there. It took me a while when the service started, and they did not dwell on, it was not a sad service. They were not there to mourn. They were there to celebrate. Right? And I think I was part of that. About when Obama came for the memorial service, I was also downtown in front of the federal building, and a really well-dressed gentleman came running around the corner, obviously frantic, and I asked if I could help. He was the husband of one of the people who was shot, and they wouldn't let him in because he didn't have his ID, and he was frantic. And I was fortunately parked right around the corner, drove him to his house. I don't think I even asked his name. We were just quiet. And got him back in time and played my little piece. And a couple weeks afterwards, to tie it up, I had a weird, I think it was probably the only online date I actually had, met at Asian Fusion on Sam Rittenberg, which I never go to, and it quickly went bad. And it went bad because I mentioned that I had been to the memorial service and was recounting it. And she was kind of irate that they had got so much attention. And I realized that amidst all this brotherhood, there's a lot of hate out there. And you don't always see it coming, just like fellowship. Yeah, I don't think of myself as too much of having my thumb on the pulse of the city, kind of, live my own world. I did go to the protest, the No Kings, and I only saw one black person there. And I didn't see any Hispanics. I understand the Hispanics scared out of their minds. And I felt like I was there for them, but I felt like there was a really important part of the city that wasn't there. I'm not really sure why. Everybody I work with, they live in Wadmalaw, they're just great people, but I don't really know how the community functions. I kind of wish I did. The date really changed me. That really shook me up. I've had instances in Charleston over the years, kind of a lot more than I would have expected, of unexpected acceptance, really warmth, real genuine warmth, talking to people out on Johns Island that I wouldn't expect to be sitting around having a chat with and really making a connection. So I'm not as surprised about those probably not as giddy as I used to be. Yeah, so I've changed, probably grown with the city a bit. 10 years ago seems like a long time. I used to live in a little rundown place downtown that I walk by it now and I think, it's amazing that I used to live in that little thing. Yeah, and I've seen the city just explode, and the people who used to live here move somewhere. I don't know where they've gone. But yeah, the city's changed a lot. And there's still little pockets. There's little neighborhoods here and there. You gotta find them. They're worth looking for. Johns Island, we need to protect that place. I don't have a recollection. That week between it happening and going, things were so crazy. I didn't want to go downtown. I didn't want to be involved in all that. So I don't have a real strong recollection, except that I think I just went numb. That happened here. I don't know that I don't think I ever got my head around that. I feel like they're like Tai Chi masters of forgiveness, that they know how to forgive in a way that I can barely appreciate. I can't imagine what it took. And it was stunning. I mean, it's just amazing. And but that is that church. That is that church. That is that community. It's hard to believe that they live that, especially considering everything that the community through so many years in Charleston have been through. Through my years in teaching, I've seen some graveyards that were just plowed under, and the community accepted and forgave and moved on. I don't have that capacity. It'd be nice to think that the world works like that it balances itself. This would be really nice to believe that, especially now. Maybe time in the long run does balance everything out. But boy, it's a punch either way. And it's nice to at least feel it in the moment. The long view is healthier. But that really shook me up to realize, oh, there are people that genuinely hate. And there are people who genuinely forgive and love.